Back then, an intelligence agent did not simply fall in love and lose his mind. He always had a backup plan, a hidden microphone, and a strategy to come out on top. Today, as we watch Jack navigate his complicated dynamic with Nina, I cannot help but see the ghosts of those classic espionage plots coming back to life. Let us look closely at what just happened by the water. Nina, driven by pure panic and the terrifying realization that Drew is regaining his speech, pushed his wheelchair into the lake. It was a moment of sheer desperation, a visceral reaction from a woman who feels her entire world crumbling around her. But Nina is not a hardened, cold-blooded criminal. She is deeply emotional, prone to spiraling when she loses control, and completely incapable of handling the weight of such a dark deed. I strongly believe that when she reaches for her phone to call Jack, she will not confess to attempted murder. She will not bluntly state that she pushed Drew into the depths. Instead, in a breathless, hysterical panic, she will simply cry out that Drew can talk. She will tell Jack that their secret is out, hoping he will sweep in with his power and influence to fix the massive mess she has made. Nina has always been a character driven by a desperate need for connection and a profound fear of losing those she loves. If we look back at her history, almost every catastrophic mistake she has ever made was born out of a twisted, frantic sense of preservation. When she pushes that wheelchair, it is not out of calculated malice. It is the frantic act of a mother trying to protect her daughter from a looming threat. But this pattern of acting first and thinking later has always been her tragic flaw. We have watched her lose everything time and time again because she simply cannot control her impulses when her emotions take the wheel. She assumes Jack will act as her knight in shining armor, blinding herself to the reality of who he truly is. But here is where the character integrity of Jack truly shines. Jack is a seasoned operative, a man who has survived the darkest, most dangerous corners of the global intelligence world. He is not a foolish man blinded by a sudden, sweeping romance. When he hears the raw, unhinged panic in Nina's voice over the phone, he will instantly realize that she has become a massive liability. She is no longer a strategic, useful partner in his games. She is a loose cannon about to explode and take him down with her. Instead of rushing to the boathouse to help her cover up her tracks, Jack will pivot. His goal will shift entirely. He will secretly contact the authorities, perhaps his former agency or local law enforcement, and direct them to the boathouse area. He will not do this to save Nina from herself. He will do it to save Drew. Let us delve deeper into Jack's mindset. A man like Jack does not operate on emotion. He operates on leverage and power. In the past, we saw villains who were chaotic and unpredictable, but Jack is entirely surgical. When he receives that panicked phone call, his mind will instantly map out a dozen different scenarios. He will realize that a dead Drew means a messy, highly publicized police investigation, but a living Drew, hidden away and indebted to him, is the ultimate trump card. Jack knows that by saving Drew and controlling the narrative, he holds the strings to everyone's fate. He will manipulate Nina's trust, offering her soothing words and a false sense of security while his eyes remain cold and calculating. It is a chilling reminder of his true, ruthless nature. Of course, fate always has a way of intervening in these dramatic life or death moments. Before the authorities can even arrive, young Geo will be the one to dive into the murky water. Geo, with his lifeguard training, youthful bravery, and quick reflexes, will pull Drew from the depths just in time. The visual of Geo dragging a sputtering, gasping Drew onto the wooden docks will be nothing short of cinematic, a classic rescue that will have us all holding our breath. But what happens next is where the brilliance of the writing will truly emerge, shifting the story from a physical rescue to a psychological thriller. When Jack arrives on the scene and finds Drew alive, shivering and traumatized on the dock, they will have a moment of profound, unspoken understanding. Drew, coughing up water but very much aware of who just tried to end his life, will realize he desperately needs a powerful ally. Jack, always the pragmatist, will see a golden opportunity to dismantle the entire web of lies that Nina and Willow have spun. I predict that these two men will form an unexpected secret alliance right there on the damp grass. They will agree to keep Drew's survival a closely guarded secret. They will stage a disappearance, making it look to the rest of the town as though Drew truly perished in the freezing lake. We must also consider the profound trauma Drew is experiencing in this moment. Imagine the absolute horror of being trapped in your own body, unable to scream or defend yourself, and then being pushed into the freezing water by someone you once considered family. As the water rushes over him, the betrayal will cut far deeper than the physical danger. When Gio pulls him out, Drew will be a fundamentally changed man. The honorable, straightforward man we once knew will be temporarily replaced by a man consumed by a dark, burning need for justice and retribution. He will readily agree to Jack's twisted plan because he wants Willow and Nina to feel the exact same terror, isolation, and helplessness that he felt while confined to that wheelchair. By faking his death for a few days, Drew and Jack will set the ultimate, inescapable trap. Nina and Willow will be left to believe that their darkest problem has been permanently solved, albeit in a horrific, unforgivable manner. But as we veteran viewers know all too well, guilt is an incredibly heavy burden, especially for characters who are not accustomed to carrying the weight of a life on their conscience. Jack will play the supportive, loving confidant to Nina perfectly, offering her a shoulder to cry on and a safe, private space to vent her deepest fears. However, unbeknownst to Nina, Jack will be secretly recording every single word she says, building an ironclad case against her. And then we have Willow. Oh, Willow. We have watched her carefully cultivate this image of the saintly, perfect mother and devoted wife for years. She has spent so much time judging others, positioning herself on an untouchable moral high ground, but beneath that sweet, gentle exterior lies a fierce, almost terrifying desperation to maintain her perfect, pristine life. The thought of Drew exposing her dark secrets terrifies her more than anything in the world. When she believes Drew is dead, we will see the saintly mask completely slip. The psychological toll of believing she is complicit in a murder will shatter her carefully constructed facade. She will become deeply paranoid, jumping at every shadow, and ultimately turning her venom on the one person who tried to help her. Imagine the spectacular, heart-wrenching scenes we are about to witness between Nina and Willow. Believing Drew is gone forever, the mother and daughter will inevitably turn on each other, like cornered animals. The immense stress of the cover-up will fracture their already fragile, complicated bond. Willow, terrified of losing her perfect life, will blame Nina for taking things entirely too far. Nina, defensive and heartbroken, will weep and remind Willow that she only committed this horrific act to protect her. In their heated, tearful arguments behind closed doors, they will inadvertently confess to absolutely everything. They will lay out their entire conspiracy, from the blackmail to the paralysis, straight into Jack's hidden microphones. The process of Jack recording the women will be a slow, agonizing burn. Jack will invite Nina over, pour her a glass of wine, and gently coax the details out of her with practiced ease. He will play the role of the devoted protector flawlessly. Meanwhile, Willow will confront Nina in hushed, vicious whispers. She will demand to know how Nina could be so careless, her eyes wild with a fear we have never seen from her before. Nina will beg her daughter to understand the depth of her maternal love. Every tear, every bitter accusation, every desperate justification will be captured digitally. While they may never be a classic super couple, the dynamic between Jack and Nina will be undeniably fascinating to watch as it implodes. Jack will listen to these recordings later with the detached, clinical interest of a scientist observing a doomed experiment. This brings us to the inevitable climax, a tradition as old as the show itself. There will be a solemn, tense gathering, perhaps a family meeting in the grand living room to discuss the tragedy. The room will be heavy with false grief and hidden, swirling agendas. Tracy will be sitting in her usual armchair, her eyes sharp and suspicious, sensing that something is horribly wrong, but unable to pinpoint the exact lie. Michael will be hovering protectively over Willow, completely oblivious to the monster she has become in the shadows. Nina will be standing near Jack, believing she has survived the terrible storm solely because this powerful man is protecting her. The tension in the room will be palpable, a thick, suffocating fog of secrets waiting to be pierced. Then, the heavy oak doors will slowly creak open. The room will fall into a stunned, breathless silence. Standing in the doorway, looking stronger and more resolute than ever before, will be Drew. He will not be confined to a wheelchair. He will be standing tall, fully recovered, with a chillingly calm, focused expression on his face. The absolute shock and sheer terror on Willow and Nina's faces will be worth its weight in gold. But Drew will not just bring his physical presence to shock the room, he will bring the ultimate weapon. He will hold up a small device containing every single recording Jack captured, ready to play their sins for the entire family to hear. In that heart-stopping, devastating moment, Nina will turn to look at Jack. The realization will wash over her like a bucket of ice water. The man she trusted, the man she thought was her savior and romantic partner, was the architect of her ultimate downfall. Jack never truly stood by her side. He merely used her frantic panic to gather the evidence needed to destroy the entire network of lies. It is a brutal, brilliant betrayal that perfectly aligns with his history as a ruthless, calculating operative. He played the long game masterfully, and Nina was nothing more than a convenient pawn on his chessboard. If you ask me, this potential storyline elevates the drama from a simple, tragic crime of passion to a spectacular, high-stakes battle of wits. We are moving away from impulsive mistakes and entering a sophisticated, psychological war of strategy between Drew, Jack, Nina, and Willow. As viewers, we will be constantly kept on our toes, second-guessing every alliance, every shed tear, and every whispered promise in the dark. The complex layers of deception, the fake deaths, and the ultimate, crushing betrayal will create one of the most compelling narratives we have seen in years. It reminds us exactly why we fell in love with this dramatic genre in the first place. At the end of the day, no matter how much the landscape of our favorite town changes, the core essence of the drama remains beautifully intact. The writers are reminding us that reckless actions have profound consequences, and that the dark shadows of the past always catch up to the present. I have watched these families love, betray, and destroy each other for decades, and my passion for this show has never wavered for a single second. Even when our favorite characters make terrible, unforgivable choices, the journey of watching them face the music is an absolute privilege. Let us keep our tea warm and our eyes peeled, my friends, because the storm is only just beginning.